We have a busy Thursday edition of Browns Film Breakdown Podcast where we are going to cover a slew of topics that are about players either telling you they're leaving the Browns organization, whether it's players in speculation, especially a really big one at quarterback, and plenty more, including our continual study of both what happened in 25 at each position group and what we think they're going to alter going into 26. We did tackles yesterday. Day before that, tight ends, wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs. We're almost done with the offense. So really excited about getting all of those done for you going into next week, where I promise the defense will be a lot more fun in the rewind portion of this thing than what we've been covering. And today won't be fun either, but there are good ways to look ahead at how they solve some of these things, right? So we'll continue to do that. We have great guests coming on the podcast later this week. ESPN's Jordan Reed is going to join, talk about his thoughts on Browns draft prospects, big time thoughts on the tackles, the wide receivers, everything in between. We're pumped about that. We have John Stephenson joining tomorrow night to get that recorded about all of the differences in Mike Rutenberg's defense versus what Jim Schwartz did. Really sound technique stuff, how they're going to play quarters coverage, why it matters, what sort of man hybrid stuff is confusing people about how much man coverage Atlanta played, how much they're going to play here, what match coverage looks like, how it all works. You will not find better details in the market about the actual differences in the discussion around whether they actually bring those things to Cleveland, right? So that will be up for you as well. We have more Todd Monken film to get to. I promise there's a part 2 of that coming. There's also now all the clips pulled of Rasheed Walker. I want to give you guys insight whether I think he's worth top of the line tackle money that he's projected, and plenty more. It's a great time to join Browns Film Breakdown. I promise you, getting ahead of free agency, the combine, everything's coming in a really nice, tidy 3-month window here. Can't wait to get it to you guys. So, having said all that, busy show today. Think you're going to enjoy it. If you're with us, we appreciate you. If you're not, and you're catching this on either a later version of YouTube or just on the audio side, make sure to come to brownsfilmbreakdown.com. Join the community we have growing and enhance that Browns experience. Let's get started with today's Browns Film Breakdown podcast, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is Thursday, February 19th. It's Jake and Brad. We're back together here. Talk about interior offensive line. But Brad, we have some topics to hit on before that I think are important. Speculation season is in full swing, and that means you're going to get a lot of conjecture, a lot of thoughts from people who are now like honing in on the popular thing that's coming out. And we'll talk about this. I'll hold off on one part about what's coming out, and we'll talk about it when you bring it up in a minute. The other is like, oh my God, the Browns have to replace every offensive lineman. This has never been done. I can't believe they have to do this.
Yeah.
If you watch the offensive line last year, outside of Joel Bitonio, which we'll talk about today specifically, I mean, okay, yeah, that's like
it's a good thing.
Replace them, yeah. I would, no one likes doing one off season, but if it's that bad the way it was last year, it's hard to sit here and be like, this is ultimately going to be worse, because I don't think you can, I don't want to say it out loud, right? You can always get worse, but
it can always be worse, but
it's hard to envision that. The opportunity is there now to invest in a way they haven't done so. So anyway, having said all that, welcome in, Brad. What's up, buddy? And hit us with your topics when you feel so inclined.
Yeah, I'm good. We're getting into, like you said, it is like silly season a little bit of NFL because we're really like before the combine, and so there's a lot of speculation as far as draft stuff goes without any like a lot of fact behind it. And same thing with free agency. And then right now you're in this place where you can like connect dots that maybe never even are going to be there. And people are just kind of saying things into the wind sometimes, I think. But we'll talk about it. Anyways, let's start. First topic. This one is not one of those kind of topics. Wyatt Teller took to Instagram today, him and his wife Carly, and wrote their goodbye to Cleveland, Jake, not returning for the 2026 season to the Cleveland Browns. Immediate thoughts on that?
I'm enjoying how these are framed. I find it really funny that, and maybe I missed this, maybe other like organizations, players are doing this too, but the Browns are clearly communicating to these guys.
Yeah.
We're not going to continue this relationship at the price point. We're refreshing a lot of things. I cannot imagine David and Wyatt, who were both in season, in the midst of an awful season they were in, both personally for those guys and team wise, sitting there being like, I love Cleveland. I want to be back. I'll do whatever I can. And then all of a sudden they're like, I'm leaving and it's my choice. That's not how this is happening. No. It's funny that it's being framed this way by the insider collective that runs the NFL social media world, but that's not what's happening. And I mean, maybe agents will start to make this a more popular thing to get out in front of making their player look like they want to go to free agency. But I'm really annoyed by the framing that has come out around David and Wyatt's announcement. And also like why they felt, did they share an agent? Why they felt inclined to write these farewells?
Yeah. Some people do. I think
I don't know.
I think it's a way to get out in front of it, and it's also like a way because both guys were here for a long time, and I think feel a certain way towards the fan base.
Sure.
So I think there is some genuine of that there, but like the so early before all this doing it, I think is probably at least I think we agree that it's the Browns telling them, sorry, we're not going to extend you. You should probably start, or at least through their agent, you should prepare for free agency. And I think that's what's going on here. Now,
no, I do too. I just find it funny that there's, again, I could be missing this, but it doesn't seem like anyone else is doing that. Like any other player. Yeah. Well, not even that they're writing letters. I don't even care about that. That's cool. I mean, I actually think that's genuine. It's then the insiders are saying, and I want to make sure let's just go over one of these because I was really annoyed with it. Let's see here. Let me go down. Let's kind of scroll down. These things are going quickly. So Wyatt Teller, and this is Ari Myrov who does this whole My Sports update, which I think is now connected through Pro Football Focus. But I know Schefter or Rappaport, one of them also did this. He's announced he will not be back with Cleveland in 2026 and will be with a new team next season, as will be a free agent in March. The framing of that is not the Browns are moving on. And Schefter even said that Wyatt Teller, who's scheduled to be a free agent this offseason, announced on Instagram that he will not return to Cleveland and will now sign elsewhere. Just like the framing of that is that he's choosing not to sign with Cleveland.
Right.
And it doesn't, it's different. I guess it would be different if like Devin Bush, who had a great year, said that. One of those great players that it feels like coming off a great year and a guy that they would clearly want to have a relationship with going forward said that. That'd be different. But I also, I'm saying here, I don't feel like I'm seeing these from anyone else, but I could be missing them. It's a chance I'm missing it.
No, I think you're right. And yeah, it's interesting. I think that's just the way people are going to frame things around the Browns right now, no matter what. But like neither guy, they both are coming off not very good seasons, to your point. And then also, like, they also both have been public in the past about wanting to, like, retire Browns.
Right.
Njoku did his whole I'm not effing leaving thing, like, just a month ago when they, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then now he's writing a letter, and then you've got Teller, who has been outwardly like, I hope I retire a Brown. So, I don't know.
I think the framing of it's annoying, but I might be being a little petulant with it. But if I saw more of this stuff, and I'm going to pay close attention from now until the start of the tampering, I think is what they call it, legal tampering period for free agency, to see if that happens. Right. So I don't know. There you go. We'll talk about Wyatt when we do our reviews, because we'll go through what we thought of his year and then obviously his impact and how long he was here and all of that. So we'll hold off on that. But that is a good note that, and again, he's got one of those contracts, right? The March date will come up that they have to make a move there. And I believe they will end up doing a post June 1 on him. I think Conklin, they'll outright release. I think they'll outright release Cornelius Lucas. There's some others I think they'll just outright release, the timing of which we'll see. But those guys won't be around. Just not playing good enough football to justify.
No, they're not. Number 2 or B, Pat's Pulpit reports. This is interesting, I think. the New England Patriots interviewed Browns assistant coach, safeties coach Ephraim Banda before promoting Zach Kerr to defensive coordinator. We didn't know about that.
We didn't. So that makes 3. Jets.
Yeah.
Who is the
Cowboys.
second team? Cowboys and now Patriots. He's not. If they have another good year, he's not going to be here.
No.
He's going to get a role somewhere. And I actually would not be surprised. In his job title right now, I don't think he's the pass game coordinator, right? I don't think last year he wasn't. My point is, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him that if he didn't have that. He's just the safeties coach.
Yeah, he should be the pass
They
game.
probably will do that because that's the thing that gives these guys a chance to like elevate to the next step. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Rutenberg here. So
Tarver should be the run game coordinator, I would think.
Would make sense. I think that would make plenty of sense. So, yeah, there's still some guys on this thing that we haven't heard anything about in terms of like some of the football operations guys and analyst positions like that are still listed here. But you know, we'll update that when we get more information on that stuff being updated. But I don't see on the coaching staff, it doesn't have all of the new guys listed. Like the Browns, I think are probably finalizing all the contracts for these new coaches. And when they get all of them done, they'll release something big and then they'll be on the website. But as I look at it based on last year, I don't see anything. They haven't even moved Christian Jones to wide receiver coach yet, but I don't see anything on defense that has any run or pass game coordinator stuff. So
yeah, interesting. One real quick thought while we're on this topic, just throw this quick question. Do you think Mike Rutenberg brings in anybody for the staff? I would think he at least brings in a couple guys, right?
It's possible. I don't. There's not much. The problem is like tracking what's available. Like I see that Sanders Davis is an offensive assistant. I see that Zach Dunn, who I know they like, was a defensive assistant. They have an assistant defensive line coach in Adam Morris. A lot of this stuff I'm not sure about. It's possible he does.
Yeah.
It's certainly possible, but I don't have a great feel on like what's really open right now. You know what I'm saying?
It would just be really, I guess, this whole thing is not normal, but it would be bizarre for just a DC to come in and just keep an entire staff. I don't know if we've seen that before.
I don't have the knowledge to know if that's happened or not. I feel like there are always these hires that happen late in a cycle, and that could be the case. But the Browns also had this unique case of we're keeping the defense.
Yeah,
we're hiring an offensive head coach, but we don't want to lose the core. So I bet you're right circumstantially, Brad, because it's pretty rare for a team to hold on to one side of the football and then hire someone to lead the organization from the other side. So it's safe to say you're probably right there, but I don't know for sure.
Feels a little weird.
It feels very weird, but that's sort of what the Browns continue to do as far as the structure of the decisions they make. It is, it is built around some things that think back to Kevin getting the head coaching job and then hiring Andrew Berry after him. Like,
correct.
It's just little things like that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. All right, number 3 here. Todd McShay.
This is a big one. If it has any validity,
but it is. This is what I mean by silly season a little bit here. So, because we don't know, right? But Todd McShay on his podcast, The McShay Show, which I do enjoy, which I think is pretty good coverage of draft prospects and stuff. I will just throw that out there that I like to watch it. As we approach the draft, they have some good stuff. But here it is today. Cleveland has been linked to adding a quarterback this offseason, whether that's through the draft, free agency, or trade. We don't know yet. NFL insider Todd McShay said on his podcast that he believes the Browns will pursue a trade for Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. Quote, don't be surprised in the next couple of weeks as we get closer and closer to free agency. There's going to be some big-name quarterbacks that are currently in designations that have contracts that are going to be targeted. Teams are going to be aggressive. C.J. Stroud is one of them. ESPN's Todd McShay said on the McShay show, and this was on Monday. Does he need a new scenery? Was this question, and then he named the Browns as a potential landing spot, which could be a stunning move. Says this article from Heavy.com. I want to source that properly. And Stroud was stellar as a rookie for the Texans, but it has taken a step back in the last 2 years. He's just 24 years old. But here's the thing about this, Jake. Stroud could be moved by Houston because they have to make a decision on his 5th-year option.
Right. There's a lot here. I think the first thing when I think of this is, would I like CJ Stroud in a vacuum? I would. I like him. I have been surprised how it tapered off between his rookie year.
Yeah.
Something, Bobby Slowick lost that job. Like, something's gone on there that is pretty peculiar for the circumstances of like what the offense has turned into in each of his seasons, because for him to take that drastic step back in his second year was pretty jarring. And I think even I would say caught him off guard for how well the league sort of, I don't know, saying figured him out, but knew how to make life uncomfortable for him, right? I'm trying to kind of look at how poorly the grading for him moved year over year. But long story short, I think CJ's a good football player. I think there have been obviously some very public meltdowns. His rookie year, he did not play very well he lit the Browns up in the playoff game there, the wild card round, but it was pretty uneven at Baltimore in the divisional, which is, again, rookie quarterback on the road at Baltimore. There's a lot there, right? So not totally surprised by that, but his second year was still relatively fine. I mean, he only had 3 more turnover worthy throws, and he actually had 1 more big time throw. The interesting thing was last year, it certainly kind of came unraveled for him. He had an increase in turnover worthy throws again, but he lost some of the big time throw metric stuff. Now, if you trace some of his performance tied to like when Tank Dell has been healthy, it's been a big factor. And Nico Collins is obviously quite talented, but he has missed some here and there too. I don't know. I think CJ is as a 24-year-old, perfectly league average quarterback right now. I really do. I think he's better than anything the Browns have. Feel very comfortable saying that. It's not like he's been dealing with God's gift to offensive line play in Houston. That's for certain. I like CJ. I think that the processing he has shown throughout his either college tape or into the NFL, and his ability to with a very quick release still drive the football into tight windows, it matters. He's in that spot where a lot of these guys either come out of it on the other side, sometimes with the same team, sometimes not, or go to a change of scenery and seem to find some success. The question is Browns fans have PTSD with anything Houston.
Yeah.
And if they went out and made this trade, it would make everything convoluted. It would make everything really, you got to think about it. If they went out and trade, I would say if they went and traded 24, I don't even want to say pick 6. Could you get him for 24? I don't even know. I don't even know how to value this. Probably like 24, 40, and next year's 2 is probably what you could trade him for, get him for. I don't even know. And don't jump at me in the I don't know what his value would be. That's tricky. But he's a perfectly league average quarterback. He's still on a rookie contract. He has some controllability. And so he's got to play his 4th year on his natural. Then he's got the 5th year option, which will make it jump. I just think that if you made that decision, okay, you then have to figure out what you can't keep Deshaun Watson. How does that work? I just think that trading for somebody, right? The point of why I think the Deshaun Watson thing is interesting is I really don't want to go too deep into this because you and I have gone through the ringer on this topic. And it's the same with Shador. I wouldn't want either of those guys around. It would be CJ and Dylan is the backup or whatever backup route you went with. I just would like you make that choice, it just feels like you're putting. It'd be really awkward. First of all, like the Houston quarterback, the guy that replaced him, you traded for another Houston quarterback. It just becomes very like again complex around it. You got to then get rid of Shador somehow. Are you going to? You're not going to keep Shador as a backup. It's too noisy. You just can't do that, right?
Yeah.
And like, I
Can't
just think that
keep
like
him around. I think you have to keep Watson, unfortunately.
in a vacuum, it's fine. I just don't know like how it becomes really like messy because there's a like at least an illusion of Deshaun Watson could compete for the job this year, right? Right now, I think it's people that support Watson have this illusion, and I can't say whether he does or doesn't get actual opportunity until it actually comes to pass. But what I'm getting at is if you traded for CJ, there's no discussion. He's the guy. Right. He's the guy. So it becomes a different dynamic around Berea. I like CJ. I would be into trading something for him. I think this is probably the worst CJ's value has been across his 3 years, right? Like this is the low point, even though I think he's due to bounce back soon enough. Not sure about Nick Caley, the offensive coordinator there. I don't know. I just it's a very messy. That'd be very messy. And I'm not even saying it would be. CJ's an improvement. I saw something on the guys at 92.3 this morning. We're talking about Kyler Murray, and it's the same thing with Kyler Murray, where it's a sticky situation. If you do go out and do that, there's just a lot of layers to figuring out the stuff around that quarterback room because you got to make a bunch of moves. But like those guys are undoubtedly better than who's here right now. Like to what degree is Kyler Murray based on what you have to pay him? That's a fair conversation, but don't try to tell me he's not better than what's here. And don't try to tell me CJ Stroud's not better than what's here. That's not like, it's not even, it won't even entertain that conversation. So I just think though, when you analyze how they have to navigate the Watson this year with then like we've talked about letting him go after next offseason, splitting the cap, there's just a lot of financial ramifications. It's not hard to be like, hey, CJ's money won't really kick in until most of Watson's money is gone. Maybe some of that you would even punt CJ's down the line just 1 year to get rid, beyond. Because if you think about it, Watson would make his money this year, not the big cap hit, but he would be around this year. If CJ were here, then you would have the 2-year split, like $45 million over each season. And then you could kind of bump CJ's fifth year would be the first year of that. And then the first year of his new contract would kick in the last year of Watson's dead cap hit, but you could punt that down the line and just kind of push it off and make it work. I'm not worried about the financials of it. The same way I'm not worried about the Malik Willis financials of it so much as other people are. You can maneuver that in a way that keeps the quarterback impact. There's been a lot of fear mongering around the Browns cap coming up recently, with not understanding that this thing continues to rise year over year. It makes the percentage that you're deeming out there, you're throwing out to scare people. It makes that money significantly less because the raises and it goes from 14% of the cap down to 7% of the cap or 6%. Exactly. It's pretty simple. But nonetheless, people like to do that. Anyway, at the root of this, if this was a player from Jacksonville, if this was a player from Carolina, people would be more into it. I think there's PTSD from the Watson situation. People saw his one performance from the year was his playoff game, against the Steelers, right? Yeah. And they're like, he can't play. The same thing with the New England game. Listen, those were bad performances. There's no doubt about it. But if you're going to try to encapsulate what you think CJ Stroud is off of those games, that's a serious miscalculation.
Sure.
That I think people should be careful with. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's clearly better than anything the Browns have. That's not even a discussion. I'm just saying. My only thought would be this: the Texans are having the discussion of whether to get rid of him, whether they want to pay him an extension, right? So, and that would be the only reason he's available. Which is like the same thing we look at with free agents. Why are they available? Well, why would he be potentially a trade? So I guess you just have to examine that, right? And Browns aren't in the same position.
100%.
But like, there's a
yeah.
reason they're balking potentially at the idea of a 5th-year option and then giving him the lucrative contract that comes after that. They're asking, is he worth it? Right.
Right.
Which the Browns need to assess as well, because whether they have the franchise quarterback here or not, or he's better than anybody they have or not, you have to assume that at some point you're going to get that guy. Or, at least I think. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, you listen. I think you would be really happy if you got a guy that next year's draft, maybe, or whatever. You're right. You're totally right. Like, why we understand why Houston was trading Deshaun Watson way back when, right?
Sure.
Watson was upset with the contract, wanted out because of that. Then all the other stuff came out and they were fine with it. They were done with it. I think that was a very unique circumstance that we still have not seen end up recreated, right? Even Lamar Jackson's situation didn't even get into that, where you don't see guys who have proven elite play make it to the open market. The closest
Correct.
we'll ever see under the current CBA is Deshaun Watson's situation, and we know the circumstances that led to such. This one, though, is, I mean, I think the framing of this is, how do you want to view what has happened with these quarterbacks that are finding success in different locations than their first location?
That's a great
the Darnolds, but you got to also think some of these guys are going to multiple places before they figure it out, right?
And
so Sam goes to San Francisco and Minnesota. Baker goes to Carolina. He has that brief stop in LA just for, a split second, but before, stopping in Tampa. I do think there's some of that stuff you have to, like Daniel Jones, couple different spots, then he gets to, so I think that's a part of it you have to be aware of, because when you are traded and you go to a new place, it's a different sort of pressure that comes with, like, I was traded for a first round pick. I got to prove it. I got the weight of it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the guy. Or like guys that went to, like Sam did, went to San Francisco and had the rehab year and spent time out of the limelight, which I think helps in this process for guys that turn it around later in their career, is a year or two like that. Right.
Right. This would stun people to go out and trade again with Houston. So, I mean, he's got the Buckeye element that helps a little bit, but I think some of that has worn off for people that care, because there's just so much Watson scar tissue there that people hate the idea of it.
The last point I would make on this is I don't think he has a Todd Monken fit necessarily.
I would say Todd could work with him. Do I think Todd would prefer that? I think Todd will always prefer a guy who's, again, like more Malik Willis, who can escape and create. And there's others that obviously Lamar, but Lamar is hard to pretend you can find Lamar's, but you can find the Malik Willis types, right? So
this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, because a lot of people like to tap down Malik Willis because of the sample size and whatnot, right?
Right.
But would you rather have Malik Willis or CJ Stroud?
Well, it's opportunity. Like, on the baseline of what I want, who do I want as a player? I'd rather have CJ. I know more about who CJ is. I feel more confident in a long-term view of CJ. Malik is tantalizing. That's the way I would frame it. Like, I think it'd be a lot of fun, and if it works out, he's got a chance to be just a fun quarterback that can win. You can win with him, and maybe ultimately win, because CJ's done way bigger body of work. He's put more throws on tape. There's a really good quarterback still in there. It's just, I think his confidence is a little beaten down. I think that there's some elements of what's around him that I don't think have helped enough at times. So yeah, I would take CJ, but the circumstances of, I have to trade for CJ, maybe give up pick 24 or maybe give up pick 40 in the next year's 2 as well. I don't know. And then sign him on top of it, because you got it. You're not trading that sort of commitment to CJ and not giving him a new deal.
Right.
So then versus committing money to Malik, I think it probably, the easiest pathway for the Browns to be competitive is Malik Willis signing with Cleveland for something not astronomical. Like, I saw some figure thrown out by Spot Track of like or spot rack, whatever, of like 35 million a year. That's not happening. I think he's getting north of 20, at 20, maybe north of 20. I mean, I won't be surprised by any outcome. 35 is way too much. He started like 4 meaningful games here. So it's a lot of like, I mean, it takes one team out of 32 to get really desperate, Brad. So it could happen. Yeah. But I think that's too much. So I think if you're like averaging it out and being like, okay, a 4-year, $100 million contract or 4-year, $80 million contract, whatever it is, the pathway that the Browns get better quicker than anything out there is that he's who he was in Green Bay. Repeatedly over game after game in Cleveland, and they don't have to give up anything other than that contract to get him. That's the quickest way.
It is. And I think Todd, with his skill set, I think he could make him even better than what we saw.
It's possible. I just want him to be that. Like, I would love for him to be better than that, but like those 2 games were like 90+ grade. They're unbelievable. They were so clean.
Yeah.
And even the throws that I documented, the film room is up now for anybody who wants to watch it. Like, I picked every throw and a lot of the runs, like even the throws that there's like something he missed. Maybe he didn't find that answer that the concept found open. He uses his legs to make positive play. He doesn't take negatives, man. He doesn't take them. So that's it. So people will disagree with me. There's going to be a lot of people who still believe in Deshaun Watson. There's people who will ride or die down to the grave with, Shador Sanders. I do believe the quickest way to turn this around would be signing Malik, but that's a difficult spot to be. And there's going to be teams that are going to really be after him. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I think his APY, I told you, Art Bet, I think his APY is north of 25 by the end of this, but I don't think it's 35 like they were saying. Let's finish the first half of this on this just real quickly. You said you mentioned the fear mongering of the contract stuff. There's stuff out there from today. It's NFL writer Matt Okada, making Denzel Ward seem like a cut candidate for the Browns. I just don't think that's realistic, Jake. And I don't think people understand that they're going to restructure all these contracts. And as Andrew said in his own press conference, that they will be financially healthy and be able to spend some in, like, the way they structure their contracts, the way they do business. But, I mean, just restructuring Deshaun's contract is going to free up, like, $40 million itself. So, I'm just saying.
Denzel Ward's really good. He's not lost a single step. I think he's the most underrated defensive back in the league.
They're not going to cut him.
They're going to give him another contract before they cut him. He's going to be a 3-contract player here. I think that they just need that. They need him. They love who he is as a person. And like I said, it's even like he's still really good. He's aging really well. And other than like a string of soft tissue injuries, like that's it. He's just really good. It's a really good football player.
You're going to hear this about other Browns players too, like Delpit and things like that. Like, oh, the Browns should be trading. They're going to have to trade off pieces because they're only a couple $1 million under the cap or what. Just wait. Don't worry. And as you said, you're going to have Anthony on, right? And break some of this down. But they will be.
Yeah, we're going to get him to write that up for us. We're going to get a full like state of the Browns cap scenario, which will be really well done. So
and
that'll be
I
here
just
soon.
think, there's numbers floating around out there, but I think they will have plenty of money by the time they do all the restructuring they want to do and things like that. So
can't wait to see. It's going to be a busy month, a really busy month. Like free agency will be here in like 20 days, man. So it's going to be some big decisions to be made. And there are always, to Todd's credit, always quarterbacks on the market you don't think are on the market. Happens every year. He's
plugged in too. Yeah.
Very plugged in. All right. That's it for the first half. We'll be back after this break to talk about offensive line, guard, center, guard. It's going to be great. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Browns Film Breakdown, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. We talked offensive tackles yesterday, which is, I think, the biggest commitment spot that's coming, Brad. Now we talk about interior offensive line, and we review performances, okay? We'll start with centers, where the Browns had 2 guys play. Ethan Posick played 826 snaps. a lot, 13 games. Luke Whippler played in 10 games, a lot of sixth offensive lineman stuff. And, he did get those starts at the end of the year when Posick went down. He played 271. Posick, a better grade, 63.8. His run blocking and pass blocking were, in the average range, right? Not great, not the player he first arrived here and kind of molded into. His first year was a 78.9. I hate doing grades. It sounds so stupid to say. I would say it was a really good year his first year. Some steps back in his second season. Not much though. And then he was still fine-ish in 24, just kind of had lost a little bit of a state. He's 30. He's going to play 31 this year. He just kind of lost a little bit, I think, of the foundational strength that made him good. A little slower processing, and last year took a step back. But again, 28 pressures in 24 versus 25 pressures in 28 pressures in the 24 season. Last year, he did only play 13 games. He did have 200 less pass blocking snaps, but I only had half the pressures allowed this year. So again, he's not like it. Let me put it this way. And we can just do this for each guy. Like if he was to be brought back for another season, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, what are you doing?
No,
he's sort of like an average to below average center at this point, in my opinion. I don't know if he's going to get, like, I would actually think for Ethan and his agent, like Cleveland is a pathway to him playing again, a chance to play, because I like him more than Whippler. He looks the part. He's a bigger dude. He's better at both phases right now. Whippler's a mess in the run game. Better as a pass protector because he's a lighter guy, even though when he gets into one-on-ones where teams either twist or move. Oh, Posick is he's just a much more complete center. He's not as good as he once was, but he's certainly better. The question is like, what's that money look like, right? Mm-hmm. And do you want to try to develop Whippler to some extent? Whippler's going to play this year at 25. You drafted him relatively late, so it's not like it's a 6th round pick, 192. The question that lingers about and Whippler is the knee injury in week 18. We don't know. I don't know. There's been no reporting on this. He was ruled out of the game. He did like hobble off but he was down for a while, and he obviously he had a broken ankle he had the year before, cost him all of the 24 season. So he's a little injury prone too. Some people are like slotting Luke Whippler in there, and I'm not there personally. He's fighting for a roster spot. So let me put it this way. I haven't heard anybody really talk about bringing Posick back. I'm not like expecting that, because I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for plenty of names. I don't personally think they're going to go spend that much money on Tyler Linderbaum. But I do think they will be interested in the market. But he's one of the two guys I would say that like people expect now. Wyatt Teller, we know, is gone. People expect both Joel and some variety to be gone and Postage to be gone too. I think there's a world where both Bitonio sticking around one more year and Posick back on a 1-year contract to stop gap.
Yep.
This is very possible. And then you're replacing both tackles and a guard, figuring out the other guard.
Yeah, I think it depends on how the market develops, right? But I think you have to keep that door open. I think they want Bitonio back, period.
No doubt about Bitonio. And we should grade those guys because that's what we're trying to do. I mean, Whippler was like, he was a C, C minus probably to me.
C minus.
I feel like he is a very replaceable NFL player.
So let me ask you
where
about
Posick was probably in the same range, but I feel like Posick he's just physically bigger. He's a grown dude. Like I think he's a better football player. Probably like a C minus for him, but his grade scale for Posick as a starter veteran in the league is different than Whippler's for me. So.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on both those grades. I was just going to ask you about I was looking at.
Also, Whippler had 6 penalties on the year.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
Yeah. And he was dinged for those big times in his grades because his overall grade is much lower than his pass blocking grade, which is rather high.
Mm-hmm.
So is that legit for you, do you think?
No, I think he's a better pass. I mean, the good thing about playing center in the NFL is you're dealing with a lot of even fronts. You're not usually one-on-one. Centers aren't usually one-on-one that often. They're usually helpers.
It's true.
He was not challenged a ton at the end of the season, but he's certainly better as a pass protector to me because he's agile. He's better playing in a sort of regression spot, working away, kick stepping, than I think he is as a guy who needs to displace, move big body players. Like, I just have concerns about Whippler's size and strength at this level, and especially for a team that I think will want to run zone down the middle of the field and run some duo stuff too. I have concerns there, but again,
I think that's fair. Yeah. So as we look at those two, Vitoni, I think it's fair for the Browns to try to keep both options open as far as Pocic and Bitonio. I do think that's fair. If they find a better option or somebody that Monken likes better than Pocic at a better price or the same price, then that's fine to go that way. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yeah. I'm not heartbroken if he's not back. I just do think that there's some element of like, we are talking about them trying to replace 5 guys. Yeah. And that is challenging. Although doable, it is challenging. So I just wouldn't. There's another one at guard that I wouldn't be surprised. Tevin Jenkins, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to give him another year. And we can talk about the guards now. We can grade them. Joel played the most of these guys. He played 17 games, 1,081 snaps, a 70 offense. I mean, this is Joel's worst grade in a while. Non-Pro Bowl season. He actually ended up grading better this year than last year, to be honest. He gave up 31 pressures, which again, this is kind of the same. He's on a 3-year run. His peak was, probably 18 through 22. He was one of the best guards playing, period. Hit another level, really. I would say last year was like the back was really bad. It didn't seem like, I should say 2024 was when the back started to really become a problem. He was better last year overall, I thought. He only gave up 2 sacks. He gave up 28 hurries, 31 pressures, only 1 penalty for the entire season. Yeah. Joel's good enough to still be, he's a B plus, probably a B. His standards are different than a lot of people because he's, you're comparing Joel Bitonio to what used to be. He's got another year in him. It's just a matter of if he wants to do it or if he wants to go somewhere else for another year and try to play. It's not out of the world that, hey, I would like to go play in San Francisco he's a West Coast guy originally out there and, in his college days. So maybe it's possible. I would love to see him only play for the Browns. I would love to give him one more year, but we'll see come March 10th what he wants to do.
Yeah. The back is such a tough thing with age.
Oh God, when you're trying to anchor and like
do that with this back.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, dude.
And that's not going away really. So
no, I mean, he's just managing it at this point. And he was good enough at managing it last year that I thought he was fine. He was fine. Wyatt Teller gets like a continual downward trend. So his arrival in Cleveland in 19, he got to play some in 19, and then 20 he really took off as Kevin came in and they ran more wide zone, and that kind of stretched into 21. Then they wanted to pull him more, move him more. He's just kind of trended in the wrong direction every year. He's in like the Pocic range to me where they could do worse at guard. They could certainly do a lot worse. But the price point that I think he expects, the perception of him, I think, is way higher among some Browns fans than what it really is.
Yep.
And I just think that like he's always been a more slot. He was really good when he was a road grading run blocker. Absolutely. That has not happened. He is not displacing the way it used to happen. The pull and space stuff is not as comfortable for him. He's had the calf injuries year over year. He's had some things in the lower body have beat him up. He's not as dynamic a puller or a double team down block guy that he used to be. And that's why he's not the same.
He appears to me to, at least this year, get lost doing that at times. Like run past his assignments and not touch anybody like a few times. Like
not as mentally sharp. And I certainly think that like he's never been a technician in the pass pro game. And I thought he was really what helped him was he would have something happen. He had a really nice athletic structure to his pass protection that allowed him to recover from mistakes. And that's not there anymore. He's going to be 30. He just turned 31 a month ago, I think. So he's going to play 31. I mean, I think basically what he was expecting, what he wanted, and what the Browns want to do. I'm not surprised to see them moving on. Just again, you can do worse. And I think the veteran three there are like, again, guys out there, we get kind of boxed into our world. The problem is the Browns tackle play has been so bad for like 3 straight years. It's really hindered our ability to figure out what the interior is consistently doing. But it's just the value of what I think Wyatt thinks he's worth versus what they can pay him. It's not there anymore. So I would give him like a C- D+ season personally. I mean, all the tackles were Fs, to be transparent, so we're dealing with like these interior guys who I think are okay, but they just as a unit didn't play very well last year. It's like the unit interior probably gets like a D, D-, but on an individual basis, there's still redeemable qualities for these guys. It's just a matter of, again, value of each of them.
Which is a massive problem when the unit isn't greater than the sum of its parts, right? Or whatever. Definitely. I didn't say that right, but
no, you did.
I mean?
You did.
The individuals aren't greater than the sum of their parts, or are greater.
I think you got it right the first time. Yeah, you got it right the first time. Tevin Jenkins, 16 games, a lot of extra offensive linemen out there. When he did get starts, he played the back half of the year. Weeks 13 through 18, he played a good amount. I'm interested enough that I'd like to have him back. I think that there are times where the pass pro gets a little sloppy, doesn't do well with the hands, and I think when he lunges, he kind of puts himself into a position of vulnerability that he can get beat by those sudden burstier type of moves. So I don't think he's as effective a pass blocker, but I think there's a chance Monken really likes his ability to run block in both phases and is drawn to trying to have him back. So my loose prediction here is that Bitonio comes back for one more year and Jenkins is back. I think Jenkins has got to get better at the parts of the pass protection that he struggles with, which are, again, balance issues and consistently landing that strike. And then the collective offensive line dealing with line stunts has been like a kryptonite for 3 years, 4 years. Got to get better there. No doubt. But Jenkins, when he played, I thought he was solid. I thought he was like a B- B line. And you can have that guy out there. But again, he's dealt with some injuries on his own. How much do you trust that? As far as like, if you can replicate his contract from last year, I'm certainly interested in that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was going to give him a B. Yeah, I mean, he had the highest grade, PFF grade on the entire offensive line.
Yep.
Less snaps, but
yeah, no,
still.
he was solid when he played. I actually thought when he came in at the end of the year, he was a relative upgrade to what Wyatt was doing on the year. That's what I thought. Zach Zenter, I don't know what the hell to do with, man. We're on year 2. He played only 46 snaps all year, and he really doesn't look the part. He looks uncoordinated when I've seen him. He played like 16 snaps in the Pittsburgh game week 17 and 17 snaps against Cincinnati. I mean, he doesn't look like he has a feel for spatial awareness, doesn't really move people in the run game. They missed this one. They just missed it.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Is this a miss on him, the player, or a miss on the impact of the injury that he suffered?
It feels more like the player to me, man. It really does. I don't see what they saw in him. There's been no translation to the league at this point. There was nothing promising about what he did last season when he started some of those early games. And I understood to get him another year removed, from what happened. And like Jenkins was firmly out in front of him. They didn't trust, they didn't have any desire to maybe move Jenkins out to tackle and let him play guard. There was nothing urgent. He couldn't get on the field as the extra, like the 6. He was inactive almost the entire season. The only games that he registered snaps in were weeks 14 through 18.
It's pick 85, Jake.
And I believe there was a didn't Dominic Pooney, the guard, go like 2 picks after him?
Yeah.
To San Francisco. Yeah, pick 87, who did not have as good a second year as his first year. His first year is phenomenal. An 80 overall grade, man. He only allowed, across 739 pass blocks, allowed 36 pressures. Really good run blocker. I don't know. It's a miss. It's a miss. They cannot afford to do it again. They can't spend a top 100 pick on an interior guy and miss again. I don't have much optimism for him. I really don't.
No, me neither. And I thought that showed because just in the second half of this year, I thought that was the perfect opportunity to get him some valuable playing time, and they couldn't even get him onto the field.
No, there's no desire either. There was no burn. Like, we got to figure out a way for him to play. We talked about it most of the year about like, hey, when do they start transitioning to giving these guys a look? And they didn't seem eager to do it. They're the old Zimmer, man. I talk about that all the time. The what was it, Kellen Mond?
Yeah.
Where he's like, what do you think about giving Kellen Mond a look? He's like, yeah, I see him every day at practice. He's like, I can do it. I watch it every day. You can't do it. So now, new regime, that's where it's tough. You get a new head coach, new O-line coach, new assistant O-line coach. What do they think of him? They don't want anything to do with him. Zinter's in a roster spot scenario, and he's got to be better. He's not going to keep his roster spot just because he was pick 85. We'll see about it soon enough. The only other one that got snaps was Garrett Dellinger, but that I don't even think those. He ended up in Tennessee at the end of the year. They let him go, so he played that Chicago game, and he played the Chicago game with Cleveland, and he played okay, but they let him go. They put him back to the practice. He was claimed by the Titans, so he's in Tennessee now.
Yeah,
that's not even one we should spend time on. Again, the UDFA. I remember talking to the Baltimore guys about like they wanted him around there, and he chose to go to Cleveland and didn't play much. But that's the interior O-line as we know it. The burning question is, I think we've already answered it, but how many of the 3 interior positions, how many of those guys do you think are new starters next year?
FanDuel line?
I would say 2.5 is the line. So you would say of those 3 guys, are they starting are they over under starting 2.5 new guys versus last year? So the question is like on the roster. So that means maybe Bitonio and Tevin Jenkins are playing next year, or some way Post 6th round and Jenkins 6th round and Bitonio retires. That's the world we're looking at.
I have a question before I answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what you know about Todd in the run game, like, is he looking for something different than what Kevin was looking for schematically? Like, does the style of guard center change with Todd?
I think he wants guys who can move. I think they've transitioned more to zone. They like Linderbaum, who can really move at the center position. I think they're going to lean a little more toward agility there. I'm going to say under. I think they're going to end up having my gut says that Joel retires. It says that he retires and they're starting Tevin and they're replacing the center and other guard. That's my hunch.
I think week 1, I'm going to say they're all 3 new.
Okay. It's very possible. Very possible. I am interested in Tevin enough. He's the only one of the 3. I know one of our questions is who excites you for next year. It's not a group
It'd
that
have to be Tevin.
It's only Tevin.
But he's not even under contract.
They got to re-sign him. Yeah, they do. Then the question is, the second burning question is, do you expect them to spend north of $25 million guaranteed dollars on an interior player? So you'd be talking like maybe a 3-year, $40 million, $45 million contract with 25 guaranteed. Let's pull up the list and have some names for people here, because there are certainly names in the interior,
I'll tell you, bring up my
offensive line. So let's.
Right now.
It is what the opening drive is about, so we will definitely have some information in there for you. Here you go. Tyler Linderbaum is expected to get $80 million, $53 million guaranteed over 4 years. I don't think the Browns are going to be able to pursue that.
No, I don't think they should.
I think he ends up in New York personally with John.
That feels like way too much in one bucket when you have to spread it out. So I tend to look at a guy like Dylan Parham, guard / center, 27-year-old, good athleticism, versatility, plays multiple spots effectively. He does well in movement based run schemes.
3 years, $39 million total, $20 million guaranteed from a projection standpoint. 26 years old.
So my projection is for Parham.
That's just PFF's listed projection. Which
so the one I put out this morning is 3 years between 27 and 33, so between 9 and 11 per year.
Yep. They have him. Pro Football Focus does 91st overall. Wyatt Teller's 122nd. So
I don't know. That's a guy. What other guards are there? Connor McGovern is a step up, probably in the same price range because he's a little bit older. He's 29. You've David Edwards.
You know who's kind of out there that would be funny if they brought him back?
Who's that?
He's 30 years old now, but that's not that old. If you're looking for bargain in this, he's Austin Corbett.
Yeah.
Carolina free agent now. Be interested in that one. I don't think they're going to go after Daniel Falale. I don't think that's even a remotely interesting move. They could, never know, because Todd's connection. But I don't find myself very interested in that. I like your Dylan Parham name. The only other one I would be like, hey man, keep your eye on him.
What about Risner, Dalton Risner?
If they swing big is where I was going to go. Risner would be fine. I thought he was fine when Cincy played him last year. He was fine. He's 30 years old. He'll play this year at 31. 1-year deal. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, Cincy would be stupid not to make that deal, but they're also pretty stupid in general. If they wanted to swing big young, the Elijah Vera Tucker one is interesting. Now, the problem is that the injury stuff with him has popped up multiple times. Hurt in 2023 after 250 snaps, and then hurt all of last year with a torn triceps. When he plays, he's really good. The contract prediction is fat, though. 4 years, 17.5 on the year average, 70 million total, 45 million guaranteed. I actually think it will be lower because of injury stuff here, a little lower. He'll get paid. He's good. He's going to be 27 the start of the year. I think if they swing big, I'm kind of interested in Vera Tucker. He fits a lot of what they like to do, what I expect Todd will like to do. So just another name for you there. If they swing big, I just don't think they're going to be in the Linderbaum market. I don't expect that.
Interesting.
There you go. The Connor McGovern one you mentioned too is interesting as well. 3 years, 20 million guaranteed. 39.
Vera Tucker on my list here.
He's ranked pretty well. 9th best center grade last year. 10th best center grade the year before. I mean, Buffalo shouldn't want these guys to leave, but they got tackles to pay and all that.
Yeah, these are just the offensive line I pulled from the top 100, Fox's top 100 free agents. So he wasn't in that list. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think this injury stuff with Vera Tucker is concerning to some people. Like the Athletic released their top 50 free agents. Let me see if I can. So Siamalu's 20th. Can I sort by position? There we go. We can do center. So Linderbaum, McGovern's the top. McGovern's at 24. Cade Mays is another center that might be of interest as well. And then at guard, they have Risner 44. Zion Johnson, they have at 32 with a really big contract. And I'm kind of like, oh boy. That's interesting.
I have him at 92 as far as free agents, but he was in the top 100, age 26.
The fascinating thing is like the projections between some of these places are very different.
Yeah, they are.
Pro Football Focus has Vera Tucker with that contract I just explained to you, that 4-year, 17.5 per, 40 million guaranteed, 70 max. The Athletic has him at 1 year, 3 million because of some of the injury history stuff.
So
I lean toward thinking it's going to be down there in the same space.
I have him at 3 years, between 30 and 36, 10 to 12 per year.
That probably is the safer place. Someone will bet on him. He's gonna be an interesting swing for sure. All right. Well, listen, that's a lot. I would say to answer that question, I think I will go as far as the pro foot or the FanDuel number would probably be a half. Like, are the Browns going to sign any offensive lineman with a 20 million guaranteed number? I would say they sign one.
Okay.
Would you say they sign
per
one or
year?
do you think? No, I'm saying a 20 million guaranteed number on their contract.
In their contract. Yeah. Oh, yeah. One for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel good about two, but I feel good about one.
No, one, and then you're bargain binning, try to get a couple starters.
Yeah.
You want to go into the draft with a foundation.
You hope. There's so much in this one that they're going to have. That's where I think Jenkins will be important to try to figure that out. Have some guys around. The tackle thing, I think there's a chance that cupboard is kind of bare.
Yeah,
other than you got DeJuan back, and then you got, KT's around. Even though I even said yesterday, Brad, that KT strikes me more as a guard.
I listened
and a tackle.
to your short on that. It's very astute. So maybe they try to do something like that, but I do think that the Walker Little trade talk.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they could just go I wouldn't have a problem that they went tackle. I mean, there's a world where that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you make the offensive line better, everything around gets better. But I don't think they'll do that. I'm just saying there's a world. And this is a better than normal free agent offensive line class. It's actually a bit of an anomaly.
It's got a decent middle class.
Yeah. Usually you aren't looking at this many starting caliber players there's enough to kind of dilute the money and make them reasonable. It's about fit. You should be looking for fit in this free agency, I think.
100%. Yeah, there's not just stone cold locks in this group that are going to make you feel like you're going to be able to they're going to work wherever. Even Linderbaum, I think, has very specific
fit
styles
issues.
that he needs to work into. So this is fun. Good stuff, man. I'm really fascinated how they're going to rework this. This is starting from scratch. They got a lot of huge decisions to make, and we'll be here to cover all of it. I mean, there's tackles I want to write up about Braden Smith and, Jermaine Illuminor. There's plenty of interesting tackles and plenty of interesting guards. So we'll try to pin down. And it's always hard the first year of a head coach because you're trying to really pin down what they're going to be doing. So you don't feel like the prediction world won't be as good as we want it to be. But nonetheless, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
We'll do our best. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Come to brownsfilmbreakdown.com, as we always say, and elevate your Browns experience. If you're on YouTube watching this or you're on the audio side, 5 stars on the audio side always helps people find the pod, and then a like, subscribe, and turning the notifications on YouTube help us there as well to get this community growing. We appreciate you being here. And as we always say, on the way out the door, go Browns.